Steve Bannon is also taking some hits from the fallover of this book. His comments in the explosive tell-all have put some of the candidates he supported in, well, an awkward position, to say the least. At least 5 of them have already distanced themselves from him, including my next guest, former New York Congressman Michael Grimm, who is also running for his old seat. Distance is putting it lightly. I follow you on Twitter. You were pretty substantial in the way you walked away from Steve Bannon. Why?
Because the entire purpose of aligning myself to work with Steve's team was to support the president. I'm running for Congress to move the pro-American agenda forward. It is all about President Trump's agenda for this great country. And, you know, listen, I'm a Marine. I served in combat. I believe in loyalty all the way. And anyone that is, I will not work with anyone that doesn't support our president, our commander-in-chief, and is not looking to move this agenda forward.
Michael, what do you think about the idea of, running now in certain areas? You're going to run in New York, and people align you still with Bannon and the policies and whatnot. Are you still part of that platform? So how do you do it without him?
Well, the way I've always done it. I've won 4 elections in a row. I haven't lost yet, and I don't plan on losing now.
I mean, do you reach out to the president? I mean, do you make a full throttle change?
No, I don't think there's any reason for that, because the reality is that the people in Staten Island and Brooklyn aren't asking me anything about Steve Bannon. Quite frankly, it's salacious headlines in the news, but the average hardworking person is wondering, is it true when I say that more than 90% of my district is going to get a tax cut from the tax bill that just passed? And yes, I remind them that is true, and I tell them why. So they're more concerned about really why my opponent, didn't repeal Obamacare or voted against banning sanctuary cities. They're not really worried about Steve Bannon.
Yeah, the populist movement you think will go on. And the reason I ask this, of course, is because you see now potentially a call for him to step down as chairman of Breitbart. You see dollars walking away from him, the Mercer family. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Well, the biggest problem that I see really, and again, my interest is our country and this president moving forward, is look at the great distraction that we have right now. We're not sitting here talking about the fact that the stock market is hitting record highs yet again, that everyone's 401k is going through the roof, and that for the first time, people's confidence in this country is just overwhelming. So we're poised, again, over 3% growth, all of the wonderful things. Listen, President Trump has had a remarkable first year. That's what we should all be talking about. Instead, we're talking about this book.
All indications are, just based on how the response has come from the White House, is that they didn't get the heads up sometimes that you will. You saw the publisher move the release up by 4 days to today because the White House pressed that it was going to try to block that publication. So a lot of things are going on that are putting it in the headlines now. You say it's time to turn the corner. I'm going to read your tweet, if I can. I strongly denounce the comments by Steve Bannon as quoted by Michael Wolff. They are baseless attacks against the president's family, beyond disturbing, and I fully support our commander-in-chief. You said that before you talked about your platform. You think it's important now for people in your party to back the president?
Absolutely.
This clearly and this publicly?
Absolutely, and I think we should have been doing that from the beginning.
I was just going to say, why hasn't it happened?
Well, that's the problem. It's part of why I'm running for Congress. My opponent has not supported our president. I think, like this Russiagate, for example, it is nonsense. It is a witch hunt. It is political in nature, and its only purpose is to delegitimize our president and to detract from the remarkable year that he's had.
You're a veteran, so you talk about that loyalty. You've heard the president and people making it a nefarious type thing that he would want loyalty from those at least around him in his inner circle. We can talk about legal and all of that later, but just those around. This points to the issue that somebody in that inner circle, no matter what they may say about Steve Bannon and he's just a little player, he was a big player at one point. What do you think about that?
Well, that's one of the reasons why I've always said, and I've served in combat, that being in politics was more dangerous than being in combat. Because at least in combat, I knew my fellow Marines had my back no matter what, and I had theirs, even if I had to give my life for it. So for my commander-in-chief, it's not a platitude. I would give my life for our president. So to be able to, I believe in loyalty at a much higher level. And so when I see things like this and all the leaks that we've had, all of them, let's go well beyond this book. We've had leak after leak after leak. I find it disgraceful and disgusting, and it's unfortunately the world of politics that we live in. And it's bottom feeding is what it is. And if they could just take a small page, and I don't expect people to be soldiers and Marines and airmen and all, and our Navy as good as our Navy, but just a little bit of what they do every day and have some self-respect and be gracious that they have the honor and privilege of working for the President of the United States and for the people of the United States.
You know what his background is, Steve Bannon? Yeah, he's got some military in his background. I'm a little confused as you talk. Maybe he forgot about that. Michael Grimm, thank you for being here. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.